Hey friends, hey friends, hey friends. This is Rose AJ with the Carnivore Connection coming to holla at y'all. And I'm going to be chatting with ketogenic Susan. I guess you guys can figure out what her name is. It's Susan A. So it's been several months since Susan and I have talked. So this is just doing a catch up, seeing what's going on in her life, where our lives currently parallel, and some topics that we can just land on and discuss. But I'm going to mute myself, Susan, and you go ahead and explain who you are, where people can find you, and then maybe just start with what you've been up to. And then I'll just chime in from there, if that's okay with you. Okay.
All right. Well, as she said, my name is Ketogenic Susan. I do have a YouTube channel that you can find me on if you're interested. I started my journey about 2 years ago when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and fatty liver and kidney disease. And I have since reversed all of those, but I do like to keep track on my blood work and keep up to date on that. And lately, I've been actually implementing strength training. I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder, but I like Rose and she shows her muscles, and she's got some good muscles in there. I don't have that, but one day maybe. But anyways, I've been implementing some strength training in the best ways that I know how to. It's definitely not a passion, but I'm feeling it develop, and I'm hoping it continues to develop. But the reason for me to start my strength training is because of my HDL. It's not coming up like a lot of people do when they just do that dietary change to keto or carnivore. And, Dr. Berry says that if that happens, it's a genetic issue and that you may just need to make sure you're upping the fat, but including strength training. So that's why my journey with the strength training has started. But I've been doing a 100 push-up challenge a day. Thanks to Lily Fit. Hold on. It's not as good as you think. But thanks to a Facebook group that I'm in called Iron Sharpens Iron, and they're all about, and the people in there, they are athletic and they get after it. But I don't do the 100 push-ups all in one time, and they are for my knees. I'm not strong enough yet to do an actual full push-ups, is what I call it. But I do 100 of them. In fact, I've already got 265 of them done today. They are really motivating and pushing, and they don't make fun of me. They don't belittle me or make me feel any less because I'm not able to do what they do. They encourage me, and that's what's important. So that's what I've been up to.
It is incredible. But I've also seen some video footage of you in the past where you were wearing like your rucksack, you were getting outside, and you were doing different things as well. So, what's the significance? Is it the HDL that you said was kind of low
Yeah.
for you?
Now, according to a lab, it's
Uh-huh.
in normal range. It's
Yeah.
47 right now. But,
Okay.
according to the doctors in our community,
Uh-huh.
we should get it to be at least 50 or higher.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm wanting it to be. But I started wanting to do the strength training in January.
Hmm.
I failed with it. Got my lab done in January, my lipid panel, and it was 44.
Hmm.
I did strength training
Yeah.
for 3 months, but I failed at because that's where my struggle is on my journey. It's not being tempted with foods and all that. It is the motivation and the desire to do the physical part. And so
Mm.
I'd get out my weighted vest and walk. But I did try to do some sprints. I just couldn't find the love and the passion and the desire to do it. And that way, I really need people to motivate me and push me.
Yeah.
Just because I make videos don't mean I don't need help and motivation.
If strength training is not your passion, um, is there something that you actually like to do, like dance? Do you like agility training? Do you like folk dancing? I mean, is there some kind of movement that you actually enjoy?
I walk.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Rose, I cannot dance. Look, there's no rhythm in me at all. I have no problem saying that. I know. I am
Yeah.
just, well,
Yeah.
I won't say that, but I have no rhythm.
Okay. So, but you enjoy walking.
I do enjoy walking. I can get out and walk all day, every day, but that
So,
doesn't seem to be enough.
So can you tell us about your walking? Do you set like a timer? Do you go for a specific distance? Do you have hills? Do you use a treadmill? What's your walking
I do have a
like?
treadmill, but I try not to use it because I want to get outside in the sun for my vitamin D. I do set a timer to make sure that I'm out in the sun for at least, well, it was 20 minutes. I bumped it to 30 because my
Yes.
vitamin D is giving me a bit of a run for my money too. But
Mhm.
I go out there and walk, and I don't go for distance, although I do keep in mind the whole thumb of 10,000 steps a day. I don't always get to 10,000 steps. I'm more concerned about just making sure I'm in that sunlight
Yeah.
for 20 to 30 minutes every day that I can.
Sure. So with walking 20 to 30 minutes outside, getting your vitamin D and sun, is there some way that you can incorporate maybe some squats or some wall push-ups already outside and you're enjoying yourself? Maybe just incorporating a couple of things.
So
Not fun.
I started this push-up challenge at the beginning of July, and let me tell you something, Rose.
Mhm.
I do it from the knees now, but when I first started, I would do my best to do what I call partial push-ups, and that's getting in
Mhm.
the full real
Yes.
push-up. I don't know what it's
Yeah.
called. And
Yeah.
back, my body, I don't know if it's a mental block, it's because I'm not strong enough, but my body would not let me go all the way down and come back up. So I go a little bit. So I say it's a partial. Then
Okay.
I get to my knees, and I can only do like 4 of those at a time before my knees would start hurting. You know,
Okay.
now I'm able to do, and this is the improvement I've seen, which is what motivates me, Rose. That's my
Okay.
problem with motivation. If I don't see instant
Okay.
results,
Yes.
I don't want to do it. And that's the problem with strength training. You don't get instant results. But
Right.
because of this group I'm in and they're motivating and encouraging me, it's kept me going. And now I'm starting to see some results. So
Okay.
now, like today, this morning before I got on here, I've done 265 knee push-ups. And I'm doing it with 30-second rest between sets. So
Okay.
like my first set, I did it 55. And I
Right
rested for
on.
30 seconds. And then I did 30. And then I can only do 15 after that. That's 100 done right there. Then I did have to give myself a 20-minute rest because my arm was like, no, stop. you know, but that's the
Yeah.
improvement I'm
Okay.
seeing. I still
Okay.
can't do a full push-up, but
Yeah.
I started doing counter push-ups, with the counter
Yes.
above my waist, so it's not as
Mhm.
low, so it's not as hard. And when I was doing that, my first time posting in that Facebook group for
Mhm.
accountability, I
Mhm.
was really embarrassed. I'm like, all these people are pumping out all these like full on push ups and they're all built and jacked. And I'm like, here I am, I've done 4,
Yeah.
but I did it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I
Right
did. I'm glad I
on.
didn't talk myself out of it because you know what
And
they did? They said, yes, ketogenic Susan, good job. They didn't laugh and kick me out of the room.
right on. Right on.
So that's
That
what I've
is
been doing. Yeah.
that is so amazing. So you are doing some strength training that you actually enjoy. You're getting accountability and motivation and support from a Facebook group, it sounds like, and you just keep going from there. So you're developing your strength in different capacities other than weight or weighted vests or structured routines. That is your
I'm
structured
starting
routine.
to enjoy it and get
Yeah.
excited about it. So it's a small flame that I feel like it's building, which is what I'm excited about. So
Yes, it's huge. Well, actually, that's huge. And I could remember way back in the day, for some reason, I just loved lifting weights and cardio, right? Simultaneously. But now for my strength training, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty organized, it's pretty structured, but I don't lift the amount of weight that I lift as heavy as I used to, but I still
right.
get the same results. So, however you build that muscle is how you build that muscle using your own body weight, using other
Yes.
things. It is what it is. But the main thing is that you're doing something.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
watch your videos, Rose, and
Mhm.
you're always got this huge smile on your face and
Yeah.
just so full of energy. And I sit there and I think,
Yeah.
oh, Rose, just give me some of that energy. I need it. well, I
Oh
have
my
the energy. Let
yeah.
me respect that. I want that desire, that
Oh, I
go
see
after the desire like you
for
have.
the workout.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Maybe it'll come in time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's growing. So,
So, girlfriend, talk to me. Do you want to talk about numbers at all? Any
yeah.
recent lab work? Because, like I had shared before we started recording, that I thought when I had emailed you, I was like, I'm going to get my labs done too. That's great. But it's actually in August that I'm getting them done. So if you want to share, that would be great. Because I know you did a whole video on your channel that we can link to the show notes as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you reached out to me for this live, it just
Mhm.
happened to be I was going for my annual doctor's appointment, which means, of
Yeah.
course, the full lab work done.
Yeah.
Now, I did have to ask him specifically for the vitamin D because he won't do a vitamin D unless you ask. And then I specifically asked for a thyroid antibody because, Rose, I've been losing my hair since 2016, since before this whole journey. So it's not just it's the change your body goes through when you start this lifestyle, right? So I was diagnosed with hypothyroid 2 years ago, but my doctor only did the standard T3, T4 test. And she said, "Oh, you have hypothyroid." Okay, Well, for me, looking at the camera right now, I feel like you can see my scalp. It's thin. My hair is thin. So when I went to the doctor, I asked him. I said, "Hey, I'm losing my hair, and I don't think it's because of my diet, because I've been doing this. I've been losing my hair since 2016." He's like, "Oh, I'll run an antibody test on you too," which I'm glad he knew what I was getting at. So anyway, the standard test came in. My A1C is still superb at 4.4 with an average glucose of 80. And I tell you what, he's still shocked and surprised about that. He still can't believe that I was ever diabetic. So that's great. So as far as the diabetes goes, I'm still in great shape. And I eat a lot of red meat, 2 years going on now, and I'm still not diabetic. So for all those who still scared about the red meat, don't worry about it. My lipid panel, my cholesterol is doing great. My LDL is 134, which according to the lab is flagged as high. But we know that there's nothing to be concerned about that. My HDL is 47, which we just talked about. My triglycerides is 68, so my triglycerides are doing great. That HDL is giving me a run for my money. And then my vitamin D, man, Rose, my body is just stubborn. But getting out in the sun every day for at least 20 minutes and eating vitamin D rich foods, my insulin resistance has improved greatly. So, I went in there expecting great results on that. And then the wind was locked out of me. It said 43. I'm like, 43? Like, what else could I do?
So,
But
so are you supplementing with vitamin D as well?
I was trying not to, but I have began to supplement
Okay.
now,
Okay.
including adding 10 additional minutes out in the sun. I'm supplementing and I'm taking the C3
Yes.
plus K2. And the only reason why I'm taking that is because I saw it in Dr. Barry. Otherwise, I wouldn't be
So,
sure. But give it a few more months, and then I'll probably just have to go through my own own your own labs and get it done again.
yeah.
But otherwise, I guess my body is just doesn't want vitamin D. I don't know what else to
Okay.
do.
Well, you tried it the right way, the natural way,
Yeah.
and now you're supplementing, so hopefully that will help.
I guess some
Yeah.
people just have to supplement, I don't
Yeah.
know, but I definitely always want to try to do what I can without supplementing. And then
Mhm.
if it's not working, well, you have to do what you got to do. I still count my blessings because of the amazing health results I've gotten so far. So
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not going to get discouraged and throw in the towel.
In your
Yeah,
vitamin D.
it might be. I was a little sad about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, the only thing that came back is concerning, is my thyroid. It
Yeah.
is. I don't expect I'll ever come off my thyroid medicine. I still take
Mhm.
the levothyroxine, 50 milligrams a day, and he may actually decide to increase. I haven't heard from my doctor yet. It's been 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, but my antibodies came back, and according to the lab, it's supposed to be below a 9. Mine's 482. So I feel like I'm not a doctor. I'm just guessing right now because I haven't actually heard from him, but I feel like he's going to tell me I have Hashimoto's. Okay. Which might explain all the hair loss, right? However, I think about Nisha Berry, and she has Hashimoto's, and she's able to get hers, in that normal range, her antibody, blood work. And I don't know. My problem is I don't know where I started at 2 years ago because my
Mhm.
doctor 2 years ago did not run this test. So is 482 an improvement from 2 years ago? And is it just something that takes time to go down? or what is it that's causing mine to stay so elevated?
Reached out or gone into different communities to see what's happening in other spaces with Hashimoto's?
I just went on vacation. I got back, and I'm just now getting caught up on everything, and so
Okay.
that's something I am looking into because, I eat carnivore. I have a salad occasionally with my husband, but I haven't even done that in almost 3 months.
Okay.
So I can't imagine what's in my diet that might be keeping it elevated. So I don't know.
I saw something when you were doing LMNT, the drink, the canned drink.
Mhm.
And am in the process of switching over to a different brand. But talk about supplementing with electrolytes. Do you do that on a regular basis, a daily basis, or is it hit and miss? Do you have a favorite brand?
When I first started this journey, I was just told we needed electrolytes, and I took them because I was like, well, that's what I'm being told. But I never knew, you know, how to tell if I needed electrolytes. How much was too much, what was not enough. But I'll tell you what, Rose. About a month ago, I discovered the answer to that, and I woke up one morning and went and got my shower, felt fine. Came out of the shower, went and got my morning black cup of coffee, and in the process of getting my machine ready, my heart started racing really bad. I thought I was going to pass out on the floor, and I had to just throw everything on the ground and just finally made it to my recliner. I sat down, and I'm a Christian, so I prayed. I was like, Lord, help me, because I didn't know what was going on. And it took a few moments of just resting. And I thought, I'm just going to go lay down. I finally felt like I had enough strength to get up to go back to my bed. I was like, I'm just going to lay down. So I lay down and I managed to fall asleep. I got up and I felt better, but I felt off. And that's the best way I could explain that. And I thought, well, let me just have some electrolytes. So I took some electrolytes. And about an hour after that, I felt better. And I'm like, wow, that was insane. I've never experienced that before this whole journey. I said, well, that's what it's like when you don't have enough electrolytes in you, I guess. That's when you know you need some electrolytes. And I had that happen one time to that degree. I've had it happen one more time since then, but not as severe. So now I make sure I use raw electrolytes for LMNT from Element. And that's because I have a whole bunch of them right now. And I put just a little bit in my coffee because I don't like salty drinks. I like it on my meat, but not in my drink so much. And I just kind of spread it out through and then my water throughout the day. There's been I've been being told that Element uses just a little bit of maltodextrin in their flavored.
Absolutely.
And so Chris, my husband, he likes the chocolate in his coffee and all that. And so because of that, I am considering moving to another brand. I really want to be careful because I'm not trying to talk down on the company. That's not what I want. Right. I'm just concerned about the maltodextrose. I can't say it.
Maltodextrose.
Yes,
I know. This is a company called Salt, SALTT, or Salty.
From Keto Chow.
So what I did was, because I tend to go gung ho and order like with LMNT, you order the 3 boxes, get the 1 free instead of just trying the 1 box, right? So
that's why I have a whole bunch of them right now.
So I ordered a pack of raw from Salty on Amazon. So it would just keep me to the 1 pack before I go to the company and buy multiples, right? So I'm switching over to that. And they even give LMNT a shout out on their website. They say that they really like them, nothing against them type deal. So that's good. So I'm switching over to that because I like the individual packets and stuff like that. So I'll let you know how that works out. And I usually
you haven't actually tried it yet?
Well, I have it in my cabinet. I'm finishing up the Element. So so I figure by Sunday.
Mixed into the water very well, or
Well, I could try a pack and then just send you a text or email and let you know. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to switch over to that. And it's a little more cost effective, not greatly, but just a little more cost effective.
It is. I think it's like $33 for a box.
Yeah, but you pay tax.
Really?
Yeah, you
Yeah, the
pay
shipping and
tax and all that stuff and shipping, but if you go through Amazon and you're a Prime member, you don't have to pay the shipping, so that's why I did it too.
Oh, smart. Yeah, I got
Yes.
Prime too. That's a good tip.
Yeah, I also want to ask you about your coffee consumption because I'm just referring back. I think it's the same video where you were talking about electrolytes in the
Yeah.
can. Did you ever go and try the cans other
I
than the one that you got?
Other than the ones that we got free, I
Mhm.
did get the cans one more time. I'm a penny pincher. I don't like the cost of it.
Yes.
I did it one time, and that was for our vacation last week, just because it made things simpler for us. Being
Okay.
in the mountains and hiking and everything, we just grabbed the can and go with us, and we had, so I did get the cans one more time.
Mhm.
I don't plan on ordering them again just because of the cost,
Okay.
and of course the melt tradition, the
Yes, I got
sugar,
you.
not real
Yeah.
sugar. Anyways,
Yeah.
um, I don't plan on doing that again. But
Okay.
for those who aren't worried about that and cost is the issue, they taste pretty good.
Okay.
So
Okay. So, what about your coffee deal, girl? How you doing on coffee, babe?
I am doing really, really good. That was such a hard thing to cut back on. I've always had an addictive personality, and of course, 2 years ago, you would have never convinced me I was drinking black coffee because I did a lot of creamery sugar at that time. But then I got used to doing the black coffee, and you can get addicted to black coffee too. There are people out there who's like, I can never do black coffee. Well, yeah, you can. Your body will adjust to it. But I did cut back. I'm no longer drinking coffee at insane hours in the night, and I make sure that before I make me another cup, I at least wait 2 hours. I make sure I give myself, because I was, oh, it's empty. Go make me another cup. Oh, it's empty. Go, it was ridiculous. I'll tell you, it was ridiculous. And even though I'm not a teetotally strict carnivore where no coffee at all is allowed, my consumption was ridiculous and over the top. And so I've definitely cut back so much on that. And I am just amazed at how easily addicted I became to that. Yeah.
Girl, you and I are in the same boat. I've been drinking coffee forever and a day. So since 2018, I've been drinking it black. And I've actually stopped, started several times in my lifetime, right? So today is day 2 of me stopping coffee. So I'm without coffee. So if I seem like a little like paused, that might be why, but it's the second day without coffee.
So is this just a temporary challenge, or are you trying to give it up altogether?
So this is what I'm telling myself because for me, coffee is like one of those last things that I can imbibe in and
Yeah.
spoil myself with. And like when we're out at Starbucks having meetings or I'm hanging with my friends, they're doing what they do as far as food and coffee,
Yeah.
but I have my do you know what I'm saying? My last clutch. But kind of like you, I was drinking it in excess and when I first started drinking coffee, it was for my mental health to keep me kind of more balanced, to keep depression
Mhm.
a little bit away and stuff. And so when I started and stopped, I go, well, am I using coffee because of how it helped me back then, or am I using it because of an addiction?
Right.
So I'm telling myself every day that I no longer consume coffee, but I can drink black tea. So it's not the caffeine that I'm trying to run away from, it's the
Mhm.
habit of having coffee in my hand. And it's a very expensive habit, right? Because if you hit Starbucks several times a week and all that good stuff. So I'm trying to let that really go and tell myself and my audience and you that I'm no
Yeah.
longer a coffee connoisseur, but I do drink black tea. So what I've switched over to is I've ordered some Peak tea. Have you ever heard of that? Pique?
No, I haven't.
So the reason I got turned on to it is because a couple of years ago, Dr. Jason Fung,
Uh-huh.
he did something with the company. He collaborated with them and helped them make a fasting tea. But of course, I wouldn't do it because of the flavors and all that good stuff. So that piqued my interest then in Peak. And when I went on my last coffee kick, I did that. I ordered a bunch of it and tried the black tea and the green tea and stuff. But it's little packets that you can use in hot water or cold water. So I've been doing like ice drinks now, like just ice water first thing in the morning with my LMNT and just getting my electrolytes in, ice water and stuff. And I don't normally like ice water, so I'm forcing myself to go to the other extreme and stuff. So that should arrive any day. So I'm just going to switch gears and just say I don't drink coffee anymore. I used to drink coffee, but I no longer do it anymore. Yeah.
So best wishes on that. And I hope that you are able to give up that coffee
Yeah.
because you're wanting to.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like a crutch, a clutch,
Yeah.
something that I need, right? It's a part of me, it's a part of my personality, it's a part of whatever. But with any addiction, whether it's food, exercise, whatever, there's certain parameters, and I don't want that hold over me anymore with the
I
coffee.
understand what you're saying
Yeah,
there. That's
yeah,
definitely that. It's like I said, I don't think the coffee is hurting me much, but
yeah,
it's when you realize it's an addiction, it's like you said, it's got a hold on you, and that's when it's not good.
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
you really make a good point there when you say, are we just drinking this because, you need it or is it just a crutch? And, it's that last thing. And that's what sticks out. And I think that's what a lot of us are doing is when we're like, let me have my coffee. I gave up all this
yeah,
other stuff. Let me have my coffee. And that's probably, if truth be told,
yeah.
the reason why a lot of us hang on to that black coffee.
Yes, yes. And it's kind of like, did you have a period where you were depressed or kind of even like in a state of overwhelm or maybe feeling sadness about letting go of the standard American diet? Some of the foods that you were eating, you realized that you had to let go of in order to have better health. Did you ever go through that, like a longing, like, oh, I wish I had my Cheetos, or I just feel so sad. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's like it's a mourning, like you're burying your long lost friend or something, but you realize you have to let it go in order to make this transition and become healthier.
The first day when I realized I was going to be diagnosed with diabetes, and I was like, my diet's going to have to change. I didn't know how drastically it was going to, but I knew it. And my first thought, oh, there goes the pizza. you know, but it went by so fast that I didn't actually experience a long morning or anything like that, just because of the scared and the fear that I had that just took over me. So I can't say that I did that. Now there are a passing thought, and once in a while I was like, it'd be cool if we could just relax and one night. But it's a passing thought, and it's not it's not a craving it's just a passing thought that happens. I'm correct when you said Cheetos because my mom is seriously addicted to Cheetos.
Okay.
And she's type 2, right?
Oh.
But she does not want to give up for Cheetos.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I quit that when you use Cheetos, and I was like, yeah, that's my mom. She's not giving up for Cheetos.
Well, I probably had like 50 foods that I had to bury. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, the life of a food addict, right?
Yep.
So that you had to bury, but it's so much brighter on the other side without those foods. And then, like you said, the fleeting thought or just sitting back and relaxing for 1 minute, the thought, but those thoughts will probably always be there. It's what we do with those thoughts.
Yep.
Acknowledge them and let them go, right?
My dad told me once, he's like, Susan, you can't help a bird from flying over your head, but you can keep it from building a nest. And, it's like you said, when you do those thoughts, I could have stopped that thought from passing through, and I could have dwelt on it, and then maybe because that fear I initially had gone,
Yeah.
So if I dwelt on it, then maybe I might open up that door to having that craving and that morning, but I'm not going to let that happen.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Would you ever consider going back and living maybe the standard American diet lifestyle, or no?
No. That's never going to happen. I have, like I said, ate a salad with my husband, but if I'm ever going to do anything that's not carnivore, it's going to be in the ketogenic realm,
Well, aren't you the person that says that you're getting tired? It's only because I've been snooping on your videos that I can bring this up, girl, that you're kind of tired of the labels, whether you're true carnivore or not, or keto or not, and all that stuff. It's all a play on words. And I would agree with you on that because nobody can tell you how to do carnivore or tell me how to do carnivore. We all have our very specific needs, our very specific um preferences. I like to say preferences, things that we are not willing to let go of, like salt for some people. I will never let go of my salt, girl, okay? Or my eggs, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. There's just
Right.
some parameters that you build for yourself, and you are carnivore regardless of how your cards play out. But can you expand a little bit about the verbiage that kind of annoys you? Um, when people say carnivore or keto, this is how we're doing it. Because you mentioned something about carnivores for Christ. There was a person that asked something in the group. Do you remember what I'm saying? She
I
said,
remember the video you're talking about, the idea. I don't exactly
yeah,
remember the comment, but it's generally this, that they ask if something's allowed, and then you get a whole bunch of people harping and screaming, and being ugly and rude. I am just, I'm wore out over the ugliness in the community. And, I would say, yeah, I'm carnivore, but when you look at somebody who's very militant and strict about it, they're going to say, no, Susan, you're not carnivore because I had a salad 3 months ago. You know, I tend to go with a philosophy, if that's the word you want to use. I don't know if that's the word, but anyways, that if your overall diet is like 97% carnivore, you're carnivore. I have a salad every once in a while, but my vast majority of my meals is just meat and some eggs, and so it's just, I feel like being as crazy as some people are out there, we're tearing each other down and not building each other up. And plus,
yeah,
a lot of these people are new to this.
mm,
So, kind of like our coffee, well, can I still do it and keep this? Show some grace. Show
yes,
some grace and help them out. Yeah. Hey, look, if you want to be strict carnivore, then technically that's not carnivore. But
right,
if it works for you, if that gets you through and not going back to the standard American diet,
yes, yeah.
go at
And
it until you're ready to give it up.
then also you were saying that you were more along the lines of meat based, or you like that verbiage more so than the other. And it's kind of like, I think we ask society for permission too much instead of creating our own house rules, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to vary, right? So somebody asking, is this okay in a carnivore group? Like you said, hopefully people will run to the rescue and say, yeah, it's fine, keep it in if it's going to keep you carnivore, versus creating negativity and saying, do it this way. No, do it your own way until you acclimate to wherever you want to be.
Right. Right. When you're
Yeah.
ready, take that next step. You don't have to just jump
Mhm.
in feet first. And,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people fail just because they get, you know,
Mhm.
I always encourage people to work their way to it.
So, but you came into the ketogenic way of life because you were under duress, because you were going to have that diagnosis.
Yes.
Can you describe for us a little bit what that was like? Because me, I said I stumbled, fumbled, I messed it up, and I kept relapsing, but I didn't have those numbers. I didn't have those diagnoses pending to kind of scare me into following this protocol. So, can you describe how you felt and how you were compelled to follow something that would improve your health versus somebody like me that kept relapsing until I finally got it right?
Well, it's all because what I saw my dad go through as a type 1 and not taking care of himself. He didn't know how to, but I won't go into all that. He didn't take care of himself, and it killed him early. He was 33, and watching what he went through when I got diagnosed with diabetes, all that came back to my mind. Like, oh, the kidney disease, the kidney failure, the loss of eyesight, and he had gangrene on his toes when he died. So he was about to lose his toes, if not his whole foot. And I didn't want that. I'm 40. Well, at the time, I was 40. I'm 42 now. But, a lot of type 2s don't realize just how serious diabetes is. Whether you're type 1 or type 2, diabetes will kill you just the same if you don't take care of it, right? And so I can't explain it. That's the fear. And I think if it wasn't for seeing my dad go through it, the numbers probably wouldn't even told me just how serious my condition was. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just take some medicine and go on, But because of that, this is going to sound really strange, Rose. I know it is, but I can't change what happened to my dad. But I can say this: I can use it. It's been used for good, Because of that, I know that I needed to do something, and it's what kept me focused. Because I tell you what, if it wasn't for that fear, I would have struggled with food. I'm not some special wonder that all of a sudden had self-control. No, it was that fear. So when I say I never had a problem struggling with the temptation to go back to all that junk food, it's not because I just was Wonder Woman all of a sudden. No, it's that fear. And by the time that fear calmed down, I was well into this and acclimated to it.
So when you said the fear calmed down, was that like a couple of months in when you got your rhythm and you understood and you just knew that there was no turning back, or was it a little bit longer than a couple of months?
It was a few months because, I was diagnosed in August, but I didn't actually find the ketogenic lifestyle until September. So September would be when I technically started, even though I was already drastically changing what I was eating in August. I just didn't realize I was heading towards keto. I didn't know that at the time. But anyways, and even though I religiously check my blood sugar constantly, I mean, the sparkling ice bottle waters, they're probably about that tall. I fill those up, those needles, and I can't even tell you how many times I was just obnoxiously checking my blood sugar constantly. And even though I saw my numbers improving as the months went on, I still needed that blood work to tell me. And in December of 2022, when I first got my first A1C checkup, and it went from a 12.6 to a 4.9, that told me, okay, this is it, and there's no going back.
Can you say those? Can you say those numbers once again, and how many months it actually took to go from this number to that number? Repeat that, Miss Susan.
Okay, so in all technicality, I started September of 2022. My A1C was 12.6. December of 2022, my doctor rechecked my A1C, and I had went from that 12.6 to a 4.9. And I did strict keto at that time. And what I mean by that is I counted my carbs, and I made sure I didn't go above 20 total carbs. I didn't follow the net carb people out there. Okay? So, and I always want to say, though, that, if you're diabetic and you're starting this, you may not get the same results as fast. You may get it faster. So if you do a 3-month checkup and your A1C is not down to 4.9 yet, don't give up. Trust the process. I hate for my results to turn into a discouragement for somebody else, because there's different nuances that will affect how fast you progress in this. But still, it can be done. And you don't have to do carnivore to get those results. However, when I went to carnivore in 2023 of January, and July 2023, I got my A1C checked up again. I went from a 4.9 to a 4.5. So, and it's maintained that, because now my last one two weeks ago was 4.4. So carnivore will improve upon it, but don't think that, because when you're coming off the standard American diet and you're getting told just eat nothing but meat, I can see why that's a turn off. Right. I can see that. I don't want to turn people away like you have to do carnivore.
No, it's extreme. It's extreme. It took me just over a year before I even dipped my toes into carnivore, right? But it's given me so much peace. I can't even describe. My mental health is like top notch, because I'm not like obsessing over food. It's not being my brain isn't being hijacked and flooded. So and then what brought you to carnivore? I don't remember what brought you to carnivore.
It's really kind of bizarre, because I don't recall anyways. I don't recall. No, I didn't even find out carnivore was a thing until January of 2023. The YouTube algorithm is a strange thing. And let me tell you something. The videos I was watching was insane. And my husband was like, he'd leave from work, I'm watching a video on reversing diabetes. He'd come home from work, I'm sitting there watching a video on reversing diabetes. He's like, you're kind of obsessed with this. Yeah, I am. So to me, my point in saying that is, I'm surprised I didn't come across carnivore videos earlier. But anyways, that's when I recall coming across carnivore videos, and it was Dave Max, one of his that I started watching first. And then I started watching Dr. Barrymore on his carnivore topics. And I'm like, at this time, I'd already saw my A1C be 4.9. So that's the motivation right there, Rose, is to keep going. You see that kind of result, you're pumped, And I'm like, well, shoot, let me see how much more I can improve. Let's see what this is about. And that's what got me going to carnivore, and I've enjoyed it because it's simplicity. And I'm okay with eating hamburger patties and eggs for the majority of my days.
I
Not
was
everybody
gonna
does, but I am.
Well, I was gonna ask you, is your husband in this way of life as well?
He has supported me wholeheartedly, and
Good.
part of that is because he don't want to cook. I'm jesting, but he does follow me now. He still likes to have his vegetables sometimes. Yeah, he eats a lot of carnivore days, but he still likes to have some vegetables, and he wants his seasoning. He's not okay with just basic salt and that's it. He's not got to that point yet, and I'm not going to press it. I mean, if he wants to have his seasonings, have at it.
Right.
He wasn't near the shape I was in. He was
Okay.
headed that way, and I know that because his triglycerides was 155. But
Okay.
his other markers were still good, so I know he was heading that direction, right? But he wasn't pre-diabetic or anything like that. And he works at a hospital for IT, and some of the nurses, they show their appreciation by bringing, cakes and brownies for the IT people. And I feel bad for him because he does strive to not eat it there either, even though he technically
Yeah.
could,
Yeah.
But he comes home, he's like, man, they had a big old, and his favorite thing was like peanut butter, like Reese cups and stuff like that. Like they had a peanut butter cake or something, and
Uh-huh.
my heart goes out to him. He doesn't have to be as strict as me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that he's doing that,
Supportive. Yes.
and being very
Yes.
supportive, because I tell you what, with that fear being gone, if he was keeping stuff in here in the apartment, that
Yeah.
I don't know that'd be as strong,
Yeah.
because that fear is gone, but he is. He's good.
So he keeps whatever he's eating that's not in your way of life, he keeps it out of the house and he'll eat it outside of the house?
He doesn't really eat it all. Now,
Okay.
I tell him,
Okay.
and I
Good.
was like, Chris, if occasionally you want to eat something at work, that's your decision. Just don't tell me about it. Don't tell me about it, how good it was. I said, I did tell him this. I said, but if you do choose to eat that, I don't want to hear about how you're craving this stuff now, because that stuff will open up the cravings. And I don't want to, I know that sounds mean. I don't want to hear how you're craving stuff, but I don't want to, because you're choosing to eat that, I don't want to know about it. So, but he says, he doesn't. And I could tell, because in the beginning when I was keto, I was making these Birch Bender brownies. That's a brand that you get at the store. Which now, of course, I didn't know what the ingredients. Of course, now I tell you that's junk.
Yeah.
But it didn't
Yeah.
affect my blood sugar. It was brownies, right? And I had stopped making them for about a month. And he came home from work one day. He's like, "When are you making them brownies again?" I'm like, "Have you been eating some at work to make you crave those?" So I can tell if he's going to start craving. He's going to start, "Hey, can you make this for me?" No.
It'll come out. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm liking that. So, has anybody else joined in with you with this way of eating, whether it's keto or the carnivore lifestyle?
No, my sister, she does what she calls VLE, and I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. I would call it just a low carb, not keto. But she still kind of believes that we still need carbs, because her doctor tells her she needs carbs, and you got to understand that my sister's a bit stubborn too. So if I'm not going to push it, right? But she does see some results, and if she at least does low carb, that's better than standard American diet. But I don't understand why she won't even lower it more, because on the BLE she has to measure everything out, like on a scale. Like she can only have so much grams of protein and grains here, and that's just too much work for me. I just want to eat my meat and go on,
Okay. And speaking of that, like my granddaughters, they're 8 now, and I have them a lot this summer, right? As a matter of fact, they're
Huh?
coming over tonight. Last week, Susan, I'm going to tell you, I was slapped silly. Okay. Kids give us a run for our money in
Oh
a
yeah.
different way. So when they come over here, I feed them ketogenic foods, right? So they have a broader palette and assortment of
Right.
stuff. And yesterday, my husband was asking me, well, do you need anything from the store? I go, no. And then he goes, should I get the girls this, this, and this? I go, well, why don't you just call them? They know what they can eat over here. So call them and ask them what they would like you to pick them up for when they come over and stuff. So they are hooked on steak, girlfriend. They are hooked on steak, but only because it was on sale for the
Yeah.
July 4th. So I had tons of it. So I took 2 out of my freezer and I was like, oh no, because they'll be over here all day tomorrow. Oh no, I'm going to put them bad boys on tonight before they get here and I'm going to eat them before I go to my class. Okay. No more steaks are in the house, ladies, but they love steak and stuff like that. So
So when they're
it's
over there, do they give you a little fuss about not having chocolate or whatever it
no,
is? They
no, because since they were able to eat, eat food, I have been feeding them the avocados, the eggs, the bacon, the sausage, and stuff like that, right? And
oh yeah,
then they'll tell me, well, we can't have that at your house, but we can have it when we go home. I go, you are absolutely right. But I don't do it perfectly either, right?
right.
Sometimes I'll take them to Mod Pizza for lunch and want to order a pizza, want to order a salad. It is what it is. Sometimes I'll take them for ice cream, but it's not like every time they come over. It might be once every 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I don't wanna be like a grumpy grandma, but I'm not willing to feed them that way either.
But I love
Yeah,
that because they're going to remember these things about you,
yeah,
Rose. And
yeah,
when they're on their own, they may look back and be like,
yeah.
well, I don't know what they call you. I don't know if they call you grandma or
No, they call me Bea, Bea.
Bea. Okay, Bea. Well, Bea ate like this, and look how healthy and she was. And you might be planting some seeds that you don't realize.
Well, and then also they travel with me now, so we're gonna go to Hawaii next week for 6 days.
I love going with you.
So they travel. So, I mean, even when we're traveling together, I mean, it's kind of like I have to pick my war, right?
Yeah.
So and the kids eat all the time. Okay. I'm like,
Well, they're growing.
but when we're one meal a day, like you and me, we
Yeah.
don't realize. So yeah, so with whatever, I usually go 2 meals a day. They need to be ketogenic. And then if they want to go to Chick-fil-A or something like that in the evening, that's fine. So I have to bargain with where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell people they know that they can find you on YouTube? Are you on any other social media, ketogenic Susan? Any other social media?
I have the Instagram. I don't really do much with that right now.
Yeah.
I keep thinking I'm going to. I just haven't got around to it. I would
Mhm.
love to dip my toes into that, so to speak. But
Yeah.
I do have an Instagram account, and then that's it. Mostly it's just YouTube.
Okay. In 6 months from now, where do you see yourself, your future self, whether it's with a carnivore lifestyle or whether it's with traveling or whether it's with a project, anything? Where do you see yourself at or where do you hope to be at 6 months from now?
Well, I can tell you for sure, I'm still going to be in the carnivore community for sure because there's no going back. You know, um, but I'm hoping to have really flourished in the strength training and have built some muscle and gotten that HDL up. I'm determined to get that. I'm fighting, but it's going to happen one of these days. It's going to happen. But that's I try to be short-term goals because when you set something so far off, it can get discouraging for me. It can be a little bit. I don't know if discouraging is a word or more daunting. Like, oh, that's a long way. It's kind of like when people first start this journey, they're 3, 4, 500 pounds. Well, if you look at the end, yeah, you got a ways to go. Don't look at it like that because then you're gonna be discouraged. Like, oh, I got so much work to do. So I try not to do that. Take my own advice. Try not to do that. Look, I want to work on my strength training. I'm hoping my passion for it will continue to rise and build. and I hope I'll be able to show some great results within that 6 months time. Maybe even get some definition going on here. I don't know.
Oh, look at you, girl. Pump it up. Pump it up.
There's no.
Those are some great goals to shoot for, and you will probably see progress incrementally. Are you taking pictures of yourself like every month in the same outfit? Because what we see every day is not what we're going to see 6 months from now. But if you have your pictures, you can do comparison.
I wished I had done it at the beginning of July, just kind of do a shot my arm, and then see periodically, like you say, like every maybe once a month or something. Because I did that when I first started this journey in terms of weight loss, because I know seeing myself every day, it's hard to see the change happening. But when you look back at the pictures, and you can see it happening.
Yes.
And then I eventually quit taking the pictures of the weight loss because I was like, well, it's going to happen if it happens.
Okay.
But now I should have, as far as, seeing where my body is maybe toning,
Yeah.
maybe I guess maybe it's the word I'm looking for.
In definition. Well, it's not too late if you take one
Right.
now. It's still the month of July, girlfriend. July
I need
24th.
I got a lot of flab, like there's a
Yeah.
lot just hanging there, so I've been trying to do some reverse push-ups to try to work on the
Like some
muscle
dips.
Yeah.
Some dips.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got on my bathtub it's low, and I just kind of
do some dips. Yeah.
Hopefully it'll make a difference because that's a lot of flab.
But that's okay. Our body deposits things in different places, right? So are there some keto foods or some carnivore foods that are considered legal, whatever your definition of legal would be, but you find yourself going off the Richter scale if you eat them? Your brain lights up a little bit too much if you eat them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or your body responds in a negative way when you eat them. And I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
Well, I'm glad to tell you mine. It's cheese. It's cheese. I actually discovered, gosh, I think it was back in March. I had, because Chris, he's not okay with just hamburger patties in it. He likes to do little different things, and that's fine. So on the weekends, I try to make some of these substitute recipes, and I had made, I forgot the recipe from Misha Berry, but she said in her video she got from Maria Emmerich. So whoever to give credit to, it goes to that credit. I don't know. I'm trying to give credit, but anyways, it had a lot of cheese in there, which is at the time I thought was really fine. And I ate it with him. But it was so much we ate it over 3 days. Okay. So I had a bunch of cheese 3 days in a row, and I checked my blood sugar, and it inflamed me so much, Rose, that I couldn't get my blood sugar below 100. And because when your body's inflamed, your body doesn't respond to your insulin as well. And it freaked me out because my dad being a type 1, I'm at a large risk of being alive, which means, late onset of type 1. And so at first I thought, I'm turning to type 1. It freaked me out so bad that I went and actually had a blood test done through on your own lab on my C-peptide, make sure my pancreas is making insulin. It is. Okay, thank God. So after a week, my blood sugar returned to normal. And I determined, geez, it's not only just bloating me a couple pounds on the scale, it's inflaming me when I have too much of it. So now I know when I do have cheese, I eat just a little bit of it, but it is hard for me to hold back. And so a few weeks ago, Chris like, well, can you make me? He finds these recipes. I don't even go look for them. He finds them. Hey, there's a carnivore cheesecake recipe. Can you make that for me? Okay. And I made it for him, and it was just cream cheese, heavy cream. I didn't even make the pork rind crust or whatever it was. I just did the cream cheese and the heavy cream. I didn't put any kind of artificial sweetener in it because that's all it called for was cream cheese. And I'm like, okay. Oh, and I think it had some egg, and I'm not sure. Anyways, whatever. A lot of cheese and heavy cream. Made the cheesecake for him, and I was like, I'll have a small bit of this, Nope. My mom was like, oh, you need to go back and get you some more of that. No, it's not good. I told him, I was like, first of all, it just tastes like cream cheese and heavy cream. It didn't even taste like cheesecake. I said, it wasn't worth that for me, so I'm not making that again.
Okay.
I couldn't, there was no shut off valve for me on that one. I was like, no.
Girl, I I love how quick you are to recognize in the fact that the cheese that you did, the 100, you looked at your numbers and then you followed it up with a C peptide just to make sure.
Yeah.
But so for me, cheese can be kind of sometime, it depends on my mood, right? So I'm not really the bells and whistles don't go off, but the bells and whistles go off for me for bacon, bratwurst, Polish sausage, anything along those lines, right? So this is what I found out. So these legal foods that I had last Friday, because the girls and mama, my daughter and her daughters and me, let me put it that way. We spent a girls' day at the lake. I
Aw.
found some shade, Susan. I watched all the kayaks, all their swim gear, the cookout stuff. I just sat, okay, because I'd been with these girls all week, so my mind was like fried. Okay. So we had eggs, we had pork rinds and cheese, lots of cheese and lots of Polish sausages, right? So they had other stuff too, but that's what I ate, like a lot of food. The next day, Susan, I had like so much brain fog, and it wasn't because I was trying to come off a coffee like I am now. I have
Right.
brain fog because of that. I couldn't figure it out. I went to my 7:45 class. I was driving around, went to Costco. I said, "What is this?" I reflected back to what I had ate on Friday. Like you said, your body gets inflamed. The scale had went
Yeah.
up like 3 pounds, 4 pounds,
Mhm.
5 pounds from just that one meal. And I'm like, Rose, when your body's inflamed, your brain is inflamed. So I have to swear off, those processed meats as far as like Polish sausage, cheese, and bacon for a while. I'm not saying permanently, but I was like, I didn't know I would take a hit like that, girl. But like you clued in really quickly. I clued in really quickly.
Yeah.
Just think of in the years past, we were underwater and we didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it.
Didn't even
Yeah.
know it. So yeah. So I'm glad that you're able to tell when it's time to say, can't have that no more. And
I'm wondering if when we eat something like for you, when you eat that smoked sausage or the Polish sausage and the bacon, and you gain on the scale because of bloating.
it's like 5 pounds
It,
like
it's
this.
and that's insane, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I used to think, well, it's just water weight, it's fine.
Yeah.
But now I'm really thinking that when you bloat like that, it's not just water weight;
Yeah.
it's inflammation in your body. And
Because
so,
your
yeah,
body responds like
yeah,
this. And it was probably always responding like that on the standard American diet. But like I said, I just didn't know it. Didn't
right.
know it. Yeah. All right, Miss Susan, I don't want to keep you past our hour together, but is there anything that you want to say before we close? Maybe if there's somebody that's trying to figure out if they want to try the ketogenic or carnivore way of life, some words of wisdom that you could give them?
I tell you what, if you're looking to start a ketogenic lifestyle, but based off my own results, I think carnivore is probably the best. However, it's okay to start slowly and work your way through the ketogenic realm. Start with keto and gradually bring your carbs down because you're gonna, unless you got a bunch of fear in you like I did, you're gonna have those cravings and those struggle days. And if you
Yeah,
do it slowly, you're more likely to succeed at it.
yeah,
And then if you do fall off and go back and have a standard American diet meal, don't look back at it. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, get back on it, and keep going. Your
yeah.
health's worth
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Miss Susan. I'm acting like you talking to me, girl. Like, yes.
it.
I love it. So thank you for spending this hour with me. I truly appreciate you
Oh,
and catching up with you.
yeah, Rose, it's been a
And
pleasure. I've enjoyed.